Which is which, as we have experienced the last year, is usually EU Prime, so still another couple of hours to go until we know if it's right or not. Oh, for the 320 going live, yeah. Yeah, that was always the running meme amongst Mongrel Squad. Bloody new patch is going to drop? Yeah, just wait until the EU event starts, and then they drop it then. Alright. This one is a bit of salt. I don't know if, you know, the last topic may have been a bit bland for you guys, so thought I'd get a bit of salt in there. I wouldn't say spice it up, but, you know, bring some flavor back to the channel, back to the session. Time to rename Star Citizen to Space Pirate yet. Really, I can look forward to all the complex mechanics and cool features still in the pipeline. Hangars and cargo hauling discussed today are a case in point. I'm pretty sure they're talking about last week's ISC. I'm very eager to see the implementation of both soon. Really, none of it matters unless criminality is treated more seriously in this game. The way I see it, players will simply not be able to enjoy all of these mechanics and features if COG keeps touting piracy as one of the coolest things this game has to offer. Why should I go through all that cargo hauling trouble if every landing zone is plagued by pirates who have little to lose? As long as the disruptive behavior of these players, who will always prefer harassing other players over NPCs, goes unpunished, this game will not expand its player base much beyond what it is today. Cynical me, Chris is probably not too worried about delivering his dream game anymore since he got to fund a company and a game engine with our dollars. Patient me, fingers crossed they constrain piracy soon and will allow us all to enjoy the fun game elements implemented and still in development. Impatiently yours. This fucking line here. As long as a disruptive player of these behaviors goes unpunished, this game will not expand its player base much beyond what it is today. I've been hearing this for fucking years, alright? And we've grown the community base 3 million players since then, or 3 million accounts. Like, we were hearing this in 3.0, this particular line. And we've increased by 3 million accounts. Doesn't mean players. Doesn't seem to fucking matter. It's not players that are the problem. Players aren't going to drive other people away from playing Star Citizen. And buddy, COG keeps touting piracy as one of the coolest things the game has to offer. Part of the reason why COG keeps pushing this forward is because piracy is the counter, you know, profession to cargo hauling. More players engage in cargo hauling than piracy. The thing is that multiple pirates, a pirate can hit multiple cargo haulers, but a cargo hauler is very rarely going to get hit by the same pirate group. I know, Fran, I don't know if you realize it, but old Mandolin here must get, you know, have to fight their way out of the outpost terminal. As soon as the bloody airlocks open, they're fighting their way to the cargo ship, flying off into space, getting chased by 10 pirates. Like, this is literally the post of somebody who wants to be a Carebear and play, you know, solo player Star Citizen or, you know, Star Carebear. That's the thing, is like, I don't think a lot of people understand this when it comes to Star Citizen, is that the game revolves around conflict. Right? Combat is a core tenet of the game. Conflict is part of the game. Alright, there's always going to be some sort of conflict somewhere. Even when you don't want it, it will find you. either in the form of another player or the AI. The AI is retarded right now, and a lot of these players here who don't like, you know, PvP and don't want piracy to be a thing, or want piracy to be a thing but restrict it so much that it's almost impossible to do and the motivation to do it is gone. These sorts of players here don't understand that the game centers around conflict, and that they need to prepare for conflict. Even if they don't want to, they're going to have to do it. That's the world that this game is building. That's the game world that we're playing in. Now, not all the areas are going to have as much conflict as others, but it doesn't mean that there will be zero conflict. Was it a few years back in a Calling All Devs? It was either a Star Citizen Live or a Calling All Devs. They were talking about PvP, and Todd Pappy was like, there will not be a single system that will be 100% safe. You know, he gave very arbitrary, you know, percentages, but he was like, you know, even the most safe systems will only be 90% safe. There'll still be 10% of danger there. And, you know, some players are like, oh, that means PvP. And it's like, no, that just means that there's, you know, the potential for conflict. But the impact that it has on your gameplay is probably going to be minimal. But it could happen still. And it's understandable that people want that in their gameplay, but that's not what we've got right now. And to be crying that, you know, criminality isn't being treated more seriously, like, in comparison to what? What's so serious about cargo hauling? What's so serious about mining gameplay? What's so serious about salvaging gameplay? Mission running, bounty hunting. What's so serious about those professions right now? You know, how fully fleshed out are those? We don't even have bloody, you know, docking fees. We don't have cargo insurance. We don't have component insurance. You know, we don't even know if COG is going to introduce fees for mining on planets and moons owned by corporations. You know, we meme about it in Mongrel Squad about miners requiring a miner license or mining license. You know, we featured it in a few of our hits, but that's not out of the realm of possibility in Star Citizen to act as a credit sink. You know, there are players out there with millions upon millions of credits, and they've got nothing to spend it on. And they've been able to achieve those millions of credits because there's no other credit sinks other than buying ships. Even the resources required, you know, like purchasing fuel, purchasing bloody, you know, purchasing ammo, purchasing, you know, repairing your ship is like chump change. Exactly, Trace. What's the point of having your own planet if you're not charging people to mine it? You know, governments call those taxes. You know, the mining tax. Why aren't people paying a mining tax? Like the refinery fees are a joke. Yes, exactly. The Hurston family is full of altruistic people. Champions of the downtrodden. Or treading people down, I can't remember. Like, you don't hear these people complaining about that stuff. And that's why, you know, like there'll always be this angle of attack where you see these sorts of crybabies, really. Complaining about, you know, players, you know, criminals need to be, you know, punished more. We need to take away from them. And it's like, well, if COG didn't want it to happen in their game, they would make it so that it couldn't happen in their game. And it's not the case with everything, because it is, you know, the systemic design does influence a lot of what we get in Star Citizen. But in this sort of case here, it's like, well, piracy is an intended gameplay loop. So what are you going to do about it? You know, keep crying to COG until they get rid of it? They're not going to get rid of it. It's not going to go away. They've built too many systems around bloody, you know, the physicalization of cargo, being able to sell stolen cargo, illegal cargo, being able to move boxes, you know, the combat system. Piracy as a gameplay loop is a result of systemic design. Probably the only purposeful mechanic that was introduced to make piracy possible, and technically it was like this until the start of the year, was QED, quantum enforcement devices. But even then, bounty hunters can use those same fucking mechanics. So it's not even piracy specific. Soft death as a mechanic could be considered something that was added for piracy gameplay, but at the same time, it's always been CIG's intent that ships don't explode when you shoot at them enough. They're supposed to go through different states of destruction and not blow up straight away as soon as their health pool hits 0. And that's because they're salvaging gameplay. They want players to have something to be able to salvage. So at the end of the day, like, you know, piracy is still one of those gameplay loops where, you know, it's just the result of a bunch of systems being brought together. If CIG wanted to kill piracy, they'd have to make players immune to each other. They'd have to make it so that you can't take somebody else's cargo. It's possible, but then they change a shit ton of the game to do that. And they don't want that. They want there to be conflict, and PvP is part of that conflict that they want. And the AI will catch up eventually, and then what? These people are going to complain, oh, the AI is too difficult. And they'll be in the middle of pyro. By themselves. In a ship full of, you know, expensive goods. And you know what CIG is going to say to them? Too bad. They'll say, too fucking bad. Soft death helps with other scenarios, such as slightly bumping the floor and being able to recover your lost goods without any third-party intervention. Yeah. That said, there still should be the third-party intervention. Because that, to me, creates the mission systems for, you know, for cargo recovery. You know, all these salvaging missions that CIG has pushed out there, if they had the insurance system in place to support that, they could then create player, or, you know, automatically generated missions that are generated through player actions, you know, like pirates pirating a ship and then soft deathing it, and then, you know, the hauler, instead of going back to try and exact revenge and recover their stuff, I mean, you know what, I'm just going to take the hit on, you know, reputation for the insurance system, claim my ship, claim my cargo, insurance company can handle that. And then you know what happens? The pirates are there recovering the cargo, salvaging the ship. Maybe the insurance company puts out a contract to go and stop them. But, you know, you gotta wait for CIG to build that. And I don't think they're going to be doing that for a while. That idea has been put forward to CIG many times by many people over the years, and it still hasn't been picked up on. But yeah, like, Star Citizen being named to Space Pirate yet? No. If they're going to call it a space, if they're going to call it anything along those criminal lines, it'd be Star Criminal, right? And, yeah, it's not that. It's Star Citizen. Not Star Carebear, and not Star Criminal. It's in the middle. Alright. I think that's enough for this guy. This particular subject. I think it's kind of funny because we actually haven't seen too many of those posts lately. A lot of them are just salt directed at CIG for, you know, lack of progress. Not somebody complaining about the game and players in it, and that there are pirates stealing stuff, and that they're not being punished enough. Because pirates need to be punished. They're not supposed to be, you know, stealing my stuff because I'm the main character of my story. Because the piracy patch has been released, so people already know it's Pirate Citizen. And it's Pirate Weeks right now. What was it? There was a post by somebody. I didn't bother bringing that one up because I just thought it was dumb. Somebody going, oh, it's Pirate Week right now, so I'm not going to do cargo hauling. Sorial, not bedroom punishment, Sorial, it's in-game punishment. Not the type that you want. Like, it's always going to be this problem, right? There's always going to be players out there that just do not want conflict. They don't want to be on the losing side because they know they will be. They don't want it. Unfortunately, the game's not in the position to facilitate them yet. They'll eventually be able to play Star Citizen where they're less likely to have these bad encounters.